Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python Crash Course. In this part, we're working with one of the most important data types in Python, which are strings. Through this part, you'll learn how to access, modify, and format text using Python string features. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to be aware of when new parts coming up. Now let's jump into the video. As you know from the previous parts, we got our variables and we got several data types, which one of them is our strings, which strings can be in two formats of this single quotations or this double quotations, which doesn't matter which one to use, and you can use either single or double quotation. And basically, you can think of a string like a list of characters. Each character has an index starting from 0. What I mean is, think of this as one list starting from here to here. Think of we have a list like this that we got S here, then our T, then the R, and going on. And each one of these has its index, and index is basically a label for their place. And in programming, all of our indexes starts from 0. So our S is at index 0, T is 1, R is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And by having this, we can address each character inside of these strings. And just as same as we got this indexing which starts from this S right here, we got our negative indexing. And those are exactly in the opposite direction. But pay attention, that one starts from -1. And this is the way and basically a map for our characters in our strings. But what are the usage of these items? For example, let's say we want to have our simple print right here, and inside of this, we want to print only the first character of our string. So we got our variable's name, or we can have this variable's name as this text, for example. And then we have these brackets, and inside of this we can have any index that we want, and it's going to grab the character at that index and print that for us. For example, let's say here we got this character of 0. If we run our program, you can see we got this S right here, which is this one. If we got, for example, this 2 here and run, we got this R because S is 0, T is 1, and R is number 2. And of course, we can have our negative indexing. For example, if we got this -2, because our minus indexing starts from -1, so S is -1 and G is our -2. And if we run, you can see we got our G printing into our output. But in some cases, we want part of our string to print and not only one character. And to do that, what we have is our slicing. And for that, we basically have our starting character. For example, let's say we start with character 0, and then we put these columns, and then we put the index of end character after this. For example, let's say here we put this 4. 0 is this S, T is index 1, R is index 2, 3 is this I, and 4 is this N. And if we run, you can see we got this STRI. Pay attention, our number 4 index which we put right here is not going to be print. It's going to start from what we put. This is going to be in the string and the slice until this one. So we don't get the N, and we only get indexes from 0 to 3. And of course, we can change this, for example, to start from this 2 until 4. If we run, you can see we got that. But in cases you want to start from index 0, you don't need to have this. You can basically leave this empty and it still works. And if we run, you can see we still got this STRI here. Or we can do the opposite thing right here. For example, we start from index 3 until the end, so we don't put anything here. If we run again, you can see we got the result just like this. Basically, the format is we have our string, then we got our brackets, then we're going to have start here, and then our end here. And this is incredibly useful when you need to extract parts of a string like first names, domains, or file extensions. But now let's talk about the common methods that we got in strings that we can use. Which for that we need our variable's name right here, then we put this dot and the name of our method. For example, the first one that we got is this upper, which if we have that upper word, then these two parentheses right here, and run our code, you can see all of the characters inside of this string turns into the uppercase. It doesn't matter it's lowercase. For example, let's say we got this R as uppercase. If we run again, you can see we got all of them in uppercase. And we got exactly the opposite, which is this lower. And if we run this, you can see all of the characters has turned into the lowercase. Pay attention here, we got this R as uppercase, but when we printed that, we got this R as lowercase in our output. The other thing which is very useful that we have is our capitalize. As it shows from its name, it's going to capitalize our string for us, so it's going to make our first character uppercase, then the rest of that lowercase. But if you have something after this, for example, we got this test, if we run this, you can see we got our first word's first letter and character uppercase, but not the second one. And for fixing that and make all of the words have their first character to be uppercase, what we need to do is we can use our title method. And by this, you can see we got all of each word inside of string to be capitalized. The other part that we're going to talk about is our searching inside of our string. You see here, we got our string test right here. Let's actually fix this capital R right here. So we got this string test. And let's say we want to find the word of test inside of this string. So we got this find method right here, and inside of these parentheses, we simply pass the name and the word or series of the characters that we want to find. Let's say here we want to find this test. Pay attention, we should make this string and pass string to our find method. And now if we run, you can see we got this number 8 printing. But what is this 8? If we check our string, you can see we got our index like this. We got our 0 for S, 1 for T, 2 R, and going on just like this until this T, which is our index 8. So our T is index 8. So it's going to find this word, which is this test right here, and returns the first character's index that it starts. For example, if we have this ESD instead of that, if we run, as you can see, it's going to return us the index of 9. Because this E starts from 9 as well as this set of characters starts from 9. And if you have something which is not in the string and if you run, you can see you got the value of -1, which means this text is not inside of our variable. But in some cases, we only want to see if there is this text or not. We don't want to have the index of its start. And for checking that, we need to have our word. For example, let's say we want to have our test to check if this test word is inside of this text. And for that, we simply have this spaces and then this in. So we got our word that we want to find, then one space, word of in, and then another space, and our string that we want to search our word inside of that. And now if we run, you can see we got this value of true instead of that indexing. Pay attention, in the previous part and previous find method, we received the index of 8, but this time we received only this true. And of course, if we have one thing which is not inside of this, for example, this random set of characters, if we run, you can see we got this false result coming into our output. But if you want to change the output and reverse that, of course, you can have this not, which we talked about this not in the previous parts. And this is basically reverse the output for you. If it's inside of text, it's going to return false. And if it's not inside of text, as you see in this case, it's going to return true for you. In this next part, we're going to talk about white space and replacements. Think of this way, we have our string with some spaces before of that and some spaces after that. And of course, some space between of our words. If we print this normally as we do, you can see we got all of those items printing into our console. we got the previous spaces, the last and the end spaces, and space between of these items. But if we want to have only this part and remove the spaces before and after of our text and word, what we need to do is simply having this strip method. And if we run this right here, you can see this time we don't have those spaces and we have only our characters, but we got the spaces that we have between of our words. And pay attention, if we have several spaces here, if we run again, you can see still we got those items right here. So the strip method is only going to get rid of the spaces before and after the first and the last character that we have. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is, let's say we want to replace this test with some other words. For that, we can do that manually, of course, but think of this way that we received this from somewhere like input or maybe from some APIs, and if we want to change that, we should do that with our code and dynamically. And for that, we got our method of replace. And by having this is going to grab and take two strings from us. First one is being the word that we want to replace. For example, in this case, we want to replace this test. And then we're going to separate this with another string and word, which this word is the word that we want to replace the previous word with this one. For example, let's say we got this new one to be the simple Python right here. If we have this means in the text, replace word test with the word Python. So basically, it's going to grab this Python right here and replace this just like this. So if we run this, you can see instead of having that string test, this time we got this strings Python. And that's because our replace method worked and replaced test with Python. Pay attention, all of these methods are going to return that thing and that output for us. And if we're not printing that and have that statements just like this, as you can see right here, and then we simply print our previous variable, which is our text right here. If we run, you can see it's going to be the same string that we got earlier. So this is not going to change the original string and variable that we have. It's only going to do this thing and return that for us. But if we want to save this and use later, we can do simply this text2 variable, for example, and have this and then print that. And this time, if we run, you can see we got new value, or we can save this text and update that here and give this new value just like this. And this time, if we run, you can see again, we got the same result and new string. Now, for the next part, let's talk about how to build dynamic string using variables. For example, let's say here for our string, we got our simple name, which is this Jack. And we change the name of the variable to this name. And let's get rid of these other lines that we got right here. And now let's say we want to print the simple statement, hello Jack. For that, as you know from earlier parts, we got this print, we have our string of hello, then some space, and we add that with our name. And if we run this, you can see we got this result of hello Jack right here. This is basic concatenation that we got in programming. But another and very better way of doing this is by using our f strings. And those are simply, we got our string at first, but we have another f before of our string. And then we can have all of the strings that we want. For example, in this case, we want to say hello to our user, which this one, we want this to be dynamic. And then maybe we want to have some other phrases or sentences right here. For example, let's start coding. And now for having our variable here instead of this user, what we need to do is having this simple curly braces and then put the name of our variable right here. You can see by only having this, if we run our code, we got this hello Jack, let's start coding. And this Jack came to here and inside of our string dynamically. And pay attention, with this f string, we can have several variables and not only one. For example, let's say we got another age, which is this 30, for example. And here, instead of having this sentence right here, let's say we want to have the name of our user, then we want to tell is age years old. And now if we run, you can see it still works with this dynamic importing. But the older way of this fstring, which you might see in some older codes when you maintaining some other projects, is our format method, which for that we got our string at first, and after end of our string we got our format method right here, and inside of this we pass simply the variables that we want right here. But pay attention, in this format we don't put the names of the variables right here. So these must be empty curly braces just like this, and then we fill that in order right here. So because it's order sensitive, the thing that we put at the first is going to go to the first field, and the thing that we're going to put after that is going to go to the second field. For example, in this case, we got our name at the first and age at the second. And this time if we run, you can see again we got this result right here. But if we got that wrong, so we got our age at the first and then name, which is wrong. If we run, you can see it's going to mess our sentence. So fstring is very better way to controlling and not having this kind of issues, but this is something that you might see in other codes. And of course, you can use all of the things that we have learned here together. For example, let's say we got some input for our name. So we got this input of enter your name. And then we can have this age, which is another input, let's say. And this time here we want to have this enter your age right here. And after we receiving this, we want to strip the name. So for example, let's come into the terminal first and let's run our code. Pay attention, when you want to use inputs in Python, you can't use this extension and you should run your file from the terminal. And now if we run this, it says enter your name. Let's say our user has accidentally pressed this space several times and then has this Jack, for example, and another spaces, and then his last name, for example, let's say Smith right here, and some other spaces right here. And after this, for the age, let's say user has 30 years old. So we got these inputs, but let's process that and make that good in our, for example, welcome phrase. And let's say here at the last, we got our print of simply this fstring of welcome to our user, which here we need to have the name. And then we can have some little parentheses here and tell the age of the user right here. So we got the age right here. If we do the same thing that we got earlier, we got some spaces, Jack Smith here, some other spaces, then the age. You can see this is not good output and welcome message to show. So let's fix this. For that, we're going to use our fixed name variable for saving the results that we're going to do. And the thing that we're going to do is simply having our name variable right here. Then we're going to strip this so we get rid of the spaces before and after our actual input string. And let's say we want to have these words to be capitalized. And you know, if we want to do that to the both of these items, we can use .title. And we can use both of those methods one after each other. So we use this title right here, and just by having this items and changing this name to the fixed name, if we clear our console and run again, let's say we got some spaces, then the Jack and this Smith right here and other spaces. Let's actually make this lowercase, some spaces here, and then this 30 for the age. And now if we hit enter, you can see this time we got string that we want, which has no extra spaces, and both of the first name and last name are capitalized, which we use strip to get rid of the spaces, and title to have these first letters to be uppercase. In the next part, we'll dive into lists, a super flexible way to store and manage collections of data. If you found this video helpful, please give a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you'll be aware of the next videos coming up. See you in the next one.